I'm being paid $5 a day for this. Maddie is 3 years old and still isn't trained to use a potty. My brother-in-law, who recently got divorced, keeps dropping her off here without asking. Well, I guess getting paid is better than nothing, but now even my mother-in-law is acting weird. Suddenly, she decides to leave me alone with Maddie for a whole week and then disappears. Please, Maddie, don't cry. Honestly, I'm the one who feels like crying. The only thing that's exploding around here is the volcano on the news. I'm Jane Adams. I've been married to my husband for 2 years now. We're currently living in an owned apartment with my mother-in-law. We don't have kids, mainly because my husband is working abroad. Right after we moved in with his mom, he got sent overseas for work. He's a talented architect and is currently working on projects in Europe. He comes back occasionally, and it's nice to hear his stories, but I really want kids. I want a boy. I grew up in a family full of women, and I'm tired of all the friendly, hostile behavior. But dealing with family is one thing. Figuring out my mother-in-law is a whole different challenge. She's the type who loves gossiping. She's also quite overweight, and let's just say her intentions are as dark as they come. Ever since she got divorced a few years ago, she's gotten worse.
Oh, Jane, you look so slim today.
She always throws that line at me. I come from a skinny family. I'm practically skin and bones, which is one of my insecurities. My mother-in-law knows this, yet she keeps making those comments. She's smiling, but her eyes definitely aren't. It's pure jealousy and evil. I sometimes wonder why I'm stuck living alone with my mother-in-law. The only thing that keeps me sane is our cat, Sasha. Technically, he's my husband's cat, but he's finally liked me. There's something so calm about burying my face in his fluffy fur. Sasha doesn't look too excited, but he tolerates it. Don't give me that look. You miss him too, right? I wonder what my husband is up to. Probably swinging a hammer around somewhere. But you know, it's tough when someone just dumps their problems on you. I get it. I really do. My husband's brother John, who recently became a single dad, keeps leaving his daughter with us. He's always working late, so he just leaves Maddie here without asking. He usually leaves her off at the daycare during the day, but now he's working late and needs us to watch her. And he's offering $5 a day for it. Of course, they only tell me this after the fact. I can't exactly say no, and honestly, at least I'm getting paid. With this family, they might have just left her with me for free. My mother-in-law absolutely spoils her son, John. And since I work from home as a freelance writer, it's convenient for them. But now that Maddie's here, it's just me, my mother-in-law, Maddie, and the cat. Maddie's usual daycare is too far away, so when she's here, I have to watch her the whole time. And the fact that she's not yet trained to use a potty is a bit of a challenge. She's quiet though, and just stares at me like she's trying to figure me out before running after Sasha. She's got this tiny little bag. It's cute, but still, I'm confused. My mother-in-law is watching me. Oh, is it time for lunch? I wonder how she'll react if I just serve fries. I'm standing in the kitchen with an apron on, staring into the fridge. Should I just make spaghetti again? Sasha is meowing. The deadline for my work is coming up.
Jane, can you change Maddie's diaper?
Does she really not see doing it herself as an option? I can only sigh. Another sigh escaped me as I dealt with Maddie before lunch. I felt like I wanted to change my mother-in-law's way of thinking too. One day while I was working on my computer, my mother-in-law suddenly opened the door without knocking. My heart almost jumped out of my chest. Does privacy not exist for this woman? What's wrong, Mother?
I'm going out for tea with Mrs. Helen, so take care of everything here.
Mrs. Helen is a kind elderly neighbor who I know as well. She's always considerate when we meet. Oh, is that so? Fine, just go and leave me alone already. After closing the door, I sipped on my cold coffee and returned to my computer. Several hours passed as I worked, and suddenly I realized I was starving. It was already past 1 p.m. When I left my room, Sasha greeted me with a meow. I thought maybe I'll just have some fries for lunch, but then as I walked into the kitchen, I was shocked. Maddie was crouched on the floor. I had no idea she was even here. When did she arrive? How long had she been here without making a sound? Maddie looked up at me sleepily as she stood up, and that's when the smell hit me. Her diaper was completely full. When did you get here? Maddie just shook her head. Her diaper was in a terrible state. After changing her, I started preparing lunch. She must have been hungry for a while. Even though she's usually so quiet, it's strange how she doesn't make a single sound. I can't help but worry about what life is like for her and John. I decided to skip the fries and thought maybe I'd make some rice instead. But just as I was about to start, I heard a strange noise coming from the living room. I had a bad feeling. Maddie had thrown up all over the carpet. She had a high fever. I rushed her to the hospital, but of course, the waiting room was packed. I nervously called my mother-in-law, and she casually said,
Kids get fevers all the time. She'll be fine.
I was shocked at how little my mother-in-law and John seemed to care. When I asked, they both admitted they knew she had a fever before sending her over. What kind of people are they, and why didn't they tell me? Lunch was out of the question at this point. We waited 2 hours for her to be seen by a doctor. Once we got home, I gave Maddie her medicine, and after an hour, she finally slept. I cleaned the carpet and was taking a break when my mother-in-law returned.
There's something so peaceful about watching a child sleep, isn't there?
I can't believe she said that. I don't even have the energy to argue.
What's for dinner?
I should just give her some fries. Wait, I think I forgot to eat lunch. But if I order delivery, it's too expensive and they'll probably complain. Maybe I'll just make rice again. Sasha is staring at me, clearly unhappy. Oh, did I forget to feed you too? Sorry, I'm really hungry as well. The reason John and my mother-in-law didn't live together was because of his ex-wife, Karen. Karen was a career woman, just like my mother-in-law. John and Karen met at work, where she was his boss. I don't know how they started dating, and honestly, I don't care. Karen only had a child because my mother-in-law pressured her to. But Karen hated being on maternity leave. She was itching to get back to work, so she returned as soon as possible and put Maddie in daycare. That's when John, who's notoriously cheap, started fighting with Karen over the daycare costs. John is the classic head of the family type, so the arguments got intense after they had a child. I heard John even yelled, "Taking care of the kid is a woman's job." Did he forget she was his boss? Honestly, I feel like siding with Karen. She only had a child because my mother-in-law pushed her into it, and then she got divorced because she didn't want the trouble. It's incredibly irresponsible, but I can kind of understand where she's coming from. While I sympathize with Karen, I'm also stuck dealing with the consequences. But the one I feel truly sorry for is Maddie. It's not fair to treat her like a burden. My mother-in-law insists on taking Maddie, but she never actually takes care of her, so all the responsibility falls on me. John often doesn't even come to pick up Maddie, so we end up taking care of her for days. When my mother-in-law does give me money, it's only $5 out of the $20 she gets from John. Where did the other $15 go? When I asked her, she said, "That's my share." I really want to spend an hour just questioning her reasoning. They're such a stingy family. My mother-in-law's pension never gets used for our household expenses. She clings to her money like it's her lifeline. I wish my husband would come home soon and put an end to this. Maddie, holding her worn-out stuffed bunny, looked sadly out the window. Poor Maddie. This environment isn't good for her, but I don't know what to do. I want to talk to my husband about it, but I don't want to do it over the phone. I tried to find comfort in petting Sasha, who came over seeking attention. Don't look so annoyed, Sasha. Just as I was trying to find a moment of peace, John showed up at our door again with Maddie. It was a Sunday. "Please take care of her as I'm going for a business trip." Maddie held her torn bunny, looking apologetic. She had a small bag with a change of clothes, but no extra diapers. John didn't say when he'd be back to pick her up. I hope we have enough supplies to last until then. Meanwhile, my mother-in-law was preoccupied on her phone, texting her friend Helen. Despite how much she wanted a grandchild, she seems indifferent to Maddie. Maybe she was hoping for a grandson instead. Maybe I should start potty training Maddie. Sunday was smooth since nothing major happened, but I'm questioning how my mother-in-law treats Maddie. She controls the TV and only watches what she likes. In the end, all I can do is let Maddie watch YouTube on my phone. My mother-in-law goes out alone, buys snacks she likes, and eats them while watching dramas. I don't want to fight, so I can't say anything. She's very selfish. Maddie sleeps curled up quietly on the bed. She's such a quiet kid, probably because she's trying not to bother us. On Wednesday, I have an interview scheduled, so I'll need to leave Maddie with my mother-in-law. I've told her in advance, so it should be fine. But I have a bad feeling about this. On Monday, my mother-in-law was out all day having tea with Mrs. Helen, and didn't come back until dinner. On Tuesday, she was out with Mrs. Mercy until dinner. On Wednesday, she casually mentioned that she was going on a date with Mrs. Mercy and left without a word about my interview. I had no choice but to take Maddie to daycare. It wasn't her usual daycare because it was too far, so I had to send her to a new one. I'm sorry, Maddie. I'll pick you up as soon as I can. The daycare worker said Maddie played alone with her stuffed toy the whole time. It makes me feel uneasy. I don't want to make her feel like this. On Thursday, my mother-in-law didn't come home and I was about to lose it. I took Maddie out with me because I couldn't get any work done. Even at the zoo, she looked sad with her head down. Why do you look so sad, Maddie? On Friday, I tried potty training, but Maddie had an accident. Don't get mad. Don't get mad. We ran out of diapers, so I had to go shopping with Maddie. The cashier assumed we were mother and daughter.
Shopping with your mother, huh?
She's not my mother, she's my aunt.
It made me feel complicated. I made a hamburger for dinner, something kids usually like. How is it?
It's good.
She nodded silently, which made me feel even sadder. On Saturday, my mother-in-law finally came back. She said she had gone to L.A. Is she serious?
Maddie's still here?
Maddie's face wrinkled at my mother-in-law's insensitive words. I stared at my mother-in-law, but she didn't seem to care. She's unbelievable. On Sunday, John came to the apartment and Maddie's face lit up.
Can you take care of Maddie for a bit longer?
What a cruel thing to say. I was about to lose it.
I'm sorry, Maddie. It's because of work.
Maddie curled up in a corner of the living room. Sasha tried to comfort her. Please, come back soon.
Don't worry, Jane can handle it.
I was on the edge of exploding. On Monday, my mother-in-law was out all day again with Mrs. Helen, not coming back until dinner. I was already frustrated because of work, and when Maddie spilled milk, I busted and yelled at her. I'm sorry. On Tuesday, my mother-in-law was out again with Mrs. Pauline until dinner. I finally called John. Maddie's feeling miserable.
It's because of work, okay? I'll give you some extra money, so it's fine.
It's not about the money. Maddie's really suffering. He hung up on me mid-sentence. Maddie, who had been listening, looked even sadder. Maddie started crying. Please don't cry, I said. I ended up crying along with Maddie. I've managed to deal with my mother-in-law up until now without complaining. I can't take it anymore. Exhausted from crying, Maddie fell asleep peacefully on my bed. For her sake, I braced myself and opened my phone's contact list. I tapped the name with my finger, leaving a mark. My mother-in-law and John were sitting in the living room with pale faces, sitting upright like statues. The person who looked like a demon was actually the ex-husband of my mother-in-law. He was completely helpless.
What are you two doing?
His voice echoed heavily in our living room. Maddie, who was sitting next to me, looked up at this grandfather. They divorced when Maddie was about 1 year old, so she doesn't understand the situation or influence. I'll explain. This grandfather was a former police officer.
You are living a good life, leaving your child and grandchild to our daughter-in-law and going out on his own.
The sight of them shaking with fear is satisfying.
You don't have a say in this.
My mother-in-law argued back.
How dare you speak to me like that? You, who had an affair.
My mother-in-law's face was as pale as a corpse. The reason she was abandoned was because of that. My mother-in-law was the only daughter of the Salvatore family, so my father-in-law left because he was too busy as a police officer. He was often away from home, and my mother-in-law took advantage of that to have affairs. Even during our wedding preparations, she was still having affairs, relying on the police pension. My father-in-law got tired and left. My father-in-law's voice made John almost fall over.
I've heard about your affairs, too.
John was sweating a lot. The business trips he mentioned were lies. I called my ex-sister-in-law, Karen, who checked John's schedule easily. John's colleagues revealed his affair.
He's a womanizer. How many can he have?
Karen was too shocked to speak. John kept cheating because he couldn't stand Karen's strict management. The main reason for the divorce was this. I checked with my mother-in-law's tea-drinking friend, Helen, and she confirmed that the current boyfriends of my mother-in-law are Paul and Caleb. It's not a problem for her to have boyfriends since she's divorced, but pushing Maddie off and going on a trip to LA is inexcusable. I'm filled with disrespect. I don't know how much my mother-in-law and John rejoiced when my ex-father-in-law left. John disliked my ex-father-in-law, and my mother-in-law thought affairs were no big deal. But when my ex-father-in-law got angry, their legs would shake. My ex-father-in-law had always been in control. My husband took his mother because they lived in an apartment with no family home, so my mother-in-law had nowhere to go. My dear husband, but I can't take this situation anymore. Do you know about Maddie's daycare fees? I'll hit you with a final decision.
They seem a little sensible. Then how much?
$5. I don't get it sometimes. I examined their reactions and ex-father-in-law stared at them.
Daddy didn't pay.
What?
What? Daddy didn't pay.
John's face turned from pale to white. Does that mean your mom paid for John? That's why I was not getting fully? My ex-father-in-law's face was red, like a volcano about to erupt.
No, John was paying.
Keep quiet, Maddie. I was paying. Don't say something strange.
Secret?
Yes, that's a secret. Secret.
My ex-father-in-law bursted like a volcano. The damage from the revealed lies was greater than I had anticipated. The table was overturned, glass shattered, and John's body flew through the air. My mother-in-law was crying and begging. Maddie was just staring blankly. Sasha went out for a walk, pretending not to notice. My husband hurried back from abroad, and chaos emerged as we began to sort things out. First, my mother-in-law was thrown out of our apartment. John started living with mother-in-law. Naturally, John was fired from his job for his affairs, and he struggled to find new employment. Burdened by rent, he was eventually evicted from the apartment and into a small apartment. My mother-in-law once came back to our place to retrieve forgotten items.
Maddie, you like me, don't you? You told me you don't like girls.
My mother-in-law's face turned serious and she stared at me. It confirmed my suspicions. My mother-in-law was a classic, fake, pretentious person. My phone rang. It was ex-father-in-law.
Hello?
My mother-in-law left at an astonishing speed, despite her usual fat appearance. Ex-father-in-law's fearsome reputation was evident. I heard that my mother-in-law got involved in a marriage scam, and John was being pursued by an ex-lover. I don't care about that anymore. I don't want to be involved with them again. I couldn't leave Maddie with John and mother-in-law. Eventually, Maddie became a member of our family. I was scared to suggest it because she had been so lonely and wouldn't open up. Maddie, would you like me to be your mom?
Yes.
I'm relieved. My husband flew off to another country again, busy as ever. Ex-father-in-law has started visiting us and Maddie is getting along well with him. I'm also happy to be pregnant with a baby boy. But now I'm fine with having a girl too. What would you like for dinner, Maddie? Hamburgers or fries?
Fries.
Maddie used to eat fries frequently when she lived with John. She likes fries and rolled meat. I'm amazed. It seems she missed having fries for a while. Is salad okay?
Yes.
It's nice to see her smile like that. Growing up healthy with Maddie, Sasha, and ex-father-in-law around. I wonder if my husband is still working with his hammer. My due date is December. It seems my husband will return to America by then. Maybe we'll all celebrate Christmas together. Sasha meows and swags his tail. It seems the best part of life is just beginning.